What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with why Germans don't get fat like Americans. Before we dive in, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. What we got?
I've lived in Germany on and off since 2016, and living here has given me a very valuable outside perspective of my home country, the USA. And a huge takeaway for me has been that Germany is sort of the land of moderation and the middle, while the United States is the land of extremes.
Facts.
Extremely rich, extremely poor,
Facts.
extremely beautiful, extremely ugly, extremely fit, and extremely fat.
100% agree with it. 100% agree with it. America is definitely the land of extremes. That is a fact.
Behind only the small island nations, the United States is the most obese country.
God dang, but look at these island nations though. What these island nations eating though? I know we like one of the most obese countries in the world, but what are these island nations eating? Nauru, bro, 60%? Oh my God.
Island nations, the United States is the most obese country in the world. The ranging numbers estimate that 30% of American adults are overweight, while 42% are considered obese.
Yeah, I fall in the 42% are considered obese. Oh my God. That's insane. Yeah, I'm like 7 pounds overweight for my height. But the 42% obese is crazy.
Leaving over 2/3 of America's adult population being considered overweight or obese, among the highest.
Oh my God.
But contrast this to Germany, a Western nation with a lot of societal similarities to the United States. And you'd think a country that's obsessed with bread and beer would also have this problem on the same scale. But Germany actually has a much lower prevalence of obesity, with the rate being around 19%.
Wow.
Even when just walking around in these two countries, you can notice this.
Dang.
So for the past few weeks, I've taken a deep dive into why this is, and it's been fascinating at times and shocking at times.
That is wild.
So settle in and let's talk about why Americans get fat and Germans do not.
Americans are not winning their battle against obesity.
We aren't. That's a fact. Oh snap! Now
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, chill out. Now,
Yeah,
while
that's
we're
nice.
on the subject, let me tell you guys a little bit about my health. So many of you guys know I've been an athlete almost my entire life, so my health and wellness are super important to me. I really like to take care of myself and my body.
Yeah.
I always find that I feel my best both mentally and physically when I really take care of what I put into my body. And that is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, AG1.
We're gonna skip the
AG1
sponsor,
is a
y'all.
daily foundational nutritional drink that supports health for your entire body. The science-driven formula all rely on certain nutrients from what I eat, and that is where AG1 helps me out. And man, I just feel great mentally and physically when I drink AG1. It's becoming a morning routine. Thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. All right, back to the video. So there's a few main categories that I think we need to discuss. The first is lifestyle.
The Germans love to walk. Of course, there's walking and there's walking. The Sonntagsspaziergang, or Sunday stroll, has long been an established feature in the lives of many German families.
So Germans are pretty famous for loving the outdoors. Now, this is not to say that Americans don't also love outdoor activities. I would actually even argue that certain American states like Colorado and parts of my state, Oregon, are just as active, if not more active, than Germany. But we're talking about the countries on average as a whole. Germans are much more active in the outdoors than Americans. And from my perspective, Germans seem to participate in physical activities that are sort of mild in nature, and they don't really seem to separate their life from their exercise. I feel like people in the United States either are obsessed with fitness and working out almost in an unhealthy way, or don't work out or exercise at all. So for example, with activity,
I feel like I definitely exercise, but it's not like if I didn't go to the gym, exercise, like I wouldn't get my exercise with my lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So if I took the gym out the equation, just living my life, like exercise really wouldn't be involved. Because most of that I spend in front of the camera. Or if I'm not in front of the camera, I'm in front of my laptop, uploading videos to YouTube, writing the descriptions and doing all of that, watching TV. So I do go to the gym every morning to get my exercise in. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the time exercise and American lifestyle don't coincide with each other. So you can either be obsessed with exercise, 100% on that, or you just don't really pay it too much attention.
Activities like walking or a mild hike or a little bike ride. This seems to be very common with Germans. And the stats back it up. 80% of German households own a bike, while only 48% of American households do. Now, we'll touch a little bit more on this stuff later, but I think it's important just to recognize sort of the different attitudes.
I'm surprised even 48% own a bike.
Of these activities between the two different countries. So since living in Germany, every time I go back to the States, I feel a little bit sick for about a week. And I always kind of joked that it's like, oh, my body got used to not consuming all of those American chemicals, while in Germany, now I'm back and my body is dealing with those chemicals again. And it was always like kind of a joke. But after researching everything, it seems like there's probably quite a bit of truth to that.
Yeah.
Diet, food, chemicals. It's the early 20th century. Times are hard in the U.S. We're facing the Dust Bowl and eventually the Great Depression. So during this time, farmers faced severe economic hardship. And so the government implemented interventions to stabilize agricultural markets and support struggling farmers, including the subsidization of corn. Now, this was actually supposed to just be a temporary measure, but over time, we realized all of the industrial applications of corn. Aside from it just being a very below average food that I never get on my Chipotle, it has a wide range of applications, such as biofuel production, animal feed, and food processing. Eventually, lobbying groups came into play as well, which leads this to still be happening today. So the situation in the US today is that corn is subsidized by the government and it is cheap and abundant. And this has led to the development and widespread use of high fructose corn syrup. This is an artificial sweetener made of corn that's cheaper than sugar and satisfies that American sweet tooth palate. So if you saw the video where my cousin Todd...
And I swear to, I see a corn fructose, like, I see that in almost everything, bro. Like, that's an ingredient in almost everything that I be seeing in here in America. It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. Ah, damn, yeah, we be eating these chemicals. See, the stuff we eating ain't good for our bodies.
I tried that sort of, I forgot what it was called, but this pastry from the German bakery, which is one of the most sugar-filled pastries you can get at a German bakery, and he described it as like a diet donut.
And Ty actually picked out something that I've never eaten before, a Quarktasche.
Okay. It tastes like a diet donut.
All right. Ty says it tastes like a diet donut. That just kind of shows the difference right there. Our American palates are hooked on sweets, which is satisfied by this incredibly unhealthy high fructose corn syrup, which helps plump us up. So today, the most subsidized crop in the USA is still corn, which is not the case in Germany. Germany primarily subsidizes wheat, barley, and dairy. And this is possibly why whenever Germans come over to the United States, they always complain about the quality of American dairy products. That was one of the things my girlfriend was excited when she came back to Germany to get good dairy. So we're drowning in the high fructose corn syrup in the USA, and it's in an alarming amount of food. And
I told y'all I see almost everything, bro.
Is helping to make us fat. It's also crazy when you look at a food product, the exact same product, the American version versus a European version, and how much more sugar is in the American version and how many more chemicals are in the American
insane.
version. So American food is governed by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, while the EU is governed by the European Food Safety Authority. But check this out. The FDA allows additives to be used in American foods until they are proven harmful. Europe, on the other hand, will only allow certain additives in food after they have been proven to be unharmful. The FDA is a reactive government.
So obviously, Europe does a way better job in protecting. Like, you got to prove that this food is unharmful before we'll let people have it. In America's like, we'll let you release it until somebody die from it or until somebody gets sick from it, and then that's when we'll start questioning things.
Government, while
That's
the European
crazy.
agencies are precautionary.
That is wild.
That is insane.
Now, I'm not necessarily
That is
saying that all of these
insane.
chemicals and additives are making us fat and obese like high fructose corn syrup, but they're probably not healthy and probably not helping us.
I can agree with that.
Another obvious major point with food is fast food culture and portion sizes. The United States is a culture that values convenience, and there's nothing more convenient than fast food. All of the major fast food companies come from the United States, and it's ingrained in our culture. Additionally, portion sizes in the USA are comically big. I didn't even realize this until I lived in Germany and then came.
No, that's not a dinner plate size in Europe, bro.
They are comically big.
Just stop it. In Europe, the average dinner plate size, that's it. That's not dinner, bro. That's a snack. In American homes, yeah, that's not even big enough. In American restaurants, take the peas out, put some more fries, and that's and then you're good. And then you're good. But yeah, that's crazy, bro. We eat so freaking much. It's insane.
I didn't even realize this until I lived in Germany and then came back to the States, only to see how crazy they really were.
A side dish.
You know, another
That's
thing
facts.
is I live in an old European town that was built for the foot, not for the car, and I very conveniently walked down to the grocery store to pick up these groceries, something I do almost every other day. So it's just sort of built into the lifestyle here. Walk down to the grocery store. That probably gives me 2,000, 3,000 steps every time I do it, and I do this multiple times a week. Something I don't do in the United States. In the United States, when I go to the grocery store, I'm driving there and I'm buying less healthy foods with a lot more yummy but bad for you chemicals. And the subject of walking brings us to our next topic.
I think one thing that's worked for me is that since I'm sitting around like working, like when I'm not like editing videos or making videos, I'm just sitting there watching TV. I'll just walk around my living room as I'm watching. Like, I won't just sit and watch TV. I'll walk and watch TV. That way I can still get my enjoyment from TV, but I can also get some exercise in. You feel me?
Cities and infrastructure. We all know that the United States is a huge country and incredibly spaced out, and more often than not, you do need a car to live in the United States. It's just too big and things are too far apart. American cities were largely made for the car, while European and German cities were made more for the pedestrian and the foot. So this is the typical excuse for why Americans drive more than Europeans and walk and bike way less. It's because our country was built for the car and we can't do anything to help it. That's just how our country's set up and how it is. But what if we eliminated some of these variables and found a little bit of consistency? For an example, I came across this really interesting set of data that took a look at Stuttgart and Washington, D.C. These cities have similar economies, labor markets, and core populations of around 600,000 people. Funny enough, these are also two cities that I have spent quite a bit of time in. I went to college for 4 years in Washington, D.C., and I do a lot of work now in Stuttgart with the Stuttgart Surge football team. So I know both of these cities pretty well. D.C. is also known as one of the very few American cities with good public transportation. I can attest to this. I actually used this in college, and it's also one of the most walkable cities in the United States. So let's take a look at some of this data and how people transport themselves throughout these respective cities. 76% of people in Washington, D.C. own a car, while only 58% of people in Stuttgart do. The percentage of all trips made by car, 83% of Americans in D.C., just 58% of Germans living in Stuttgart. This is also interesting. The percentage of trips made by walking, 11% for people in DC, 24% for people in Stuttgart. And for cycling, 1% of trips made by Americans in DC were made by bicycle, whereas 10% of all trips were made by bicycle for Germans living in Stuttgart.
Yeah, I will say, like, once you get a car, bro, like, forget walking, bro. That's how it is here. Like, you even think of, like, in college or on campus, you can just walk everywhere, right? Everything's on campus. It's not too far of a walk. Maybe your furthest walk is 5 to 10 minutes. Not a far. But once you get a car, bro, that 5 to 10 minutes becomes a hassle. Now it's like, well, I can get there in like 1 to 2 minutes, not be tired or sweaty when I get there, be good. It's just, yeah, that American mindset. Once you get a car, bro, walking is an inconvenience.
10 times as much. So even when walking and biking is an option, like in Washington, D.C., we Americans choose not to. I think it's ingrained in us a little bit. I would argue that sort of low-intensity, mild exercise like biking and especially walking are the best ways to lose weight and lose body fat. You can do a lot of it casually, and it's not like jogging or running. That's a bit more intense and will possibly work up a big appetite for you, so you come home and you splurge on a bunch of food after working out. This is why walking is probably the best for losing body fat. We just don't do it. Americans refuse. We hate walking. And a lot of it can be blamed on our cities and how our country is structured. But looking at this example of DC and Stuttgart and seeing the differences in these statistics really opened my eyes to show that it's not just that, we also have different attitudes when it comes to this stuff. So guys, these are a few key reasons for why people in Germany do not seem to get as fat and obese as people in the United States. It's a fascinating subject. I'd be interested to hear if you guys have any opinions on this, or if you have some reasons that I left out, please feel free to leave them below. Thanks so much for watching my YouTube videos. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a lovely day. Go on a walk, and I will see you next time.
Nah, all that definitely makes sense for sure. I gotta completely agree with Nalf on this. But yeah, I feel like our country was just built for cars, and yeah, I feel like it is ingrained in us. Even if there is the possibility of walking, it's like no, it's just too inconvenient. So we drive. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things, like I said, that you can just get in your lifestyle. I feel like there's not really an excuse. And like I said, instead of just sitting down watching TV, hey, you know, just walk and watch TV. Walk around your living room, watch TV. Still get to enjoy it, but you also get some exercise in. After you finish a TV show, do like push-ups, do some sit-ups. That way, your TV, kind of turn watching TV into a reward. And it's like, all right, did my sit-ups, I earned another episode. You feel me? You just got to figure out ways to put exercise into your lifestyle. But no matter how much exercise you do, the biggest thing is what you do in the kitchen. And the biggest thing, you can work out all day, but if you ain't eating right, you're not going to lose that body weight. You're not going to look good. You're going to get obese. So biggest thing is what goes down in the kitchen. That's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy D Neal. Out.